I don't even know how far I got before my machine locked up. The last time I looked, I wasn't that far. So I'll just kind of briefly cover what I was talking about. But basically, we landed on Ravencoin, and we've been on it ever since. So I don't want to waste too much time because I do want to get kind of through this particular section here, because it's, you know, the primary focus of Ravencoin anyway is assets, asset transfer and asset management and all those kinds of things to do with digital and assets that could be digital or physical, right? And what I would like to talk about is an actual use case, because it's something that kind of comes to my mind because of what I'm doing. Remember, if you've been watching for a while, you probably know that these two rigs right here are co-owned. So I have a situation where, you know, they mine. I basically try to do it every month, where I distribute the profits for that month, you know, based on what we're mining and things like that, which I'll get into that in a little bit. But what I've been doing in the past is whatever I accumulate over a month, and then whatever, you know, the value is I distribute that through Bitcoin or BTC through you know, transfers to the different owners of the rigs based on the percentages that they own of these two rigs right here. So it's kind of a really small scale of a really, it's almost like a GPU hosting situation, right? That could clearly scale up, you know, at any time. But right now, you know, it's not that profitable, so it's kind of tough to do. But it is, it's kind of neat. So it's a use case that I've been thinking about, right? So I think that, oh, that's a little big. Let me. I think that it is kind of cool that we can actually talk about this. So, you know, one of the functions of Raven is to, let me bring up their page here. It's a peer-to-peer blockchain handling efficient creation and transfer of assets from one party to another. Now, as time goes on, you know, they have a roadmap, and the different things that they're going to add during the roadmap are going to help this particular use case that I'm going to talk about. So basically, imagine this. So you've got a rig, and that rig hosts GPUs, right, that are mining. And what you could do is you could actually have someone, and in this case, this is pretty much what happened. They bought their own GPU, and I put it in a rig. There was some split costs between all the different hardware, right? But the majority of the people just bought a GPU, and that was it. And everything else was paid for by me and one other person. Well, if you bought a GPU, then there's only one GPU on the planet that has this particular serial number, right? So this is a physical asset in the real world that you could tokenize. You could create an asset that specifically describes this particular GPU. You know, make, model, serial number, all the different features. You know, you could describe it in a lot of different ways and create a token or create a asset. Assets and tokens are kind of interchangeable words in the Ravencoin world. So basically, you would take, let me think about this for a second. So the first thing you would do is you would create the top level, the master token, right, for the business. And in this case, if you look at their wallet, which I haven't started yet, give me a second here. I gotta bring that wallet up. I had it up, but my machine crashed, so it went away. Let me start the wallet again real quick so that you can see that. Hopefully it should already be synced, or at least really super close to it. I'll probably have to bring it down to this other monitor, and here's just, while I'm waiting on that, here's some information about the assets. And this portion of their roadmap is actually complete. They have all the assets capabilities already built in. From what I understand, I think there might be something maybe in later. Yeah, you got like unique assets, and then there might be something later on down here for for assets as well. But this is what their, let me make sure you're looking at the right thing here. So this is what their wallet looks like. I'll get my ugly mug off of there. No reason to show that. This is what their wallet looks like, and this is where you can manage assets. Now they just, I want to say it was today, they released an update to the iOS wallet, or they released an iOS wallet where you can manage assets from the wallet, the mobile wallet itself, which is super cool. I don't think it's available on Android yet, but that's okay. I think that's probably coming. I don't see how it wouldn't be. But kind of neat that they're putting that even into the mobile wallet. Really super cool. So in my case, I've already created one asset, which is SavageMine. That is the master, I think they call it a master asset. I don't know. I'm probably going to mess up a little bit of the terminology, but it's basically, think of it as the top level asset, the owner of, you can create sub assets and unique assets underneath of that. And you can see this in the, let me minimize this. Let's see here. Yeah, so asset support, I was going to see if it was really, it doesn't really lay it out like that, but there's a, if I go to the, back to the wallet, and bring that back up, and we go to create assets, this is where you can kind of see what's going on. So an asset type, the main asset, okay, so I was a little bit off. I think it's also called like the administrator asset, maybe, I don't know. Again, terminology, might be messing that up a little bit. But the main asset, the top level, it costs 500 Raven to create that asset, and you have to send it to an actual existing address. So in this case, I created an address somewhere over here, receive right here, where that is where I sent the asset to, and that 500 Raven cost is actually burned. So those 500 Raven come off of the network. They're sent to an address that no one can access and not accessible. They are basically removed from circulation, right? Which should in turn increase the value because there's less supply, right? Now you might not think 500 is not that much in a 21 million, is it million? No, 21 billion coin. I'm gonna mess the word up. Total supply, right? But I want to say that something like 17,000 different assets have been created. So if you do the math, that's a lot. I don't want to worry about the math right now, but that's a lot that have been taken out of circulation, right? So we'll go back to create assets, and I'm going to, you've got two different kinds of assets that you can create. You can create a sub asset or a unique asset. So for my use case scenario here with the business that I was talking about earlier, basically GPU hosting, right? So you got your GPU, and I'm going to create an asset. I'm going to create a unique asset underneath that describes this particular GPU that is owned by someone else. It's not owned by me. So, and you can see, normally I show you guys what I'm mining and stuff. I can do that real quick too. But I actually left the rig on Raven, the NVIDIA rig, and the other rig was, it looks like it's something's wrong with it now, but it was on Grin, I believe. But that was just, I was just playing around with stuff. So I forgot the point that I was trying to make with that. What was I trying to, my train of thought derailed. Yeah, that's what I was going to do. I was going to show you that one of the GPU is here, so it's not in the rig, so that's why the hash rate is lower. But I'm mining Atheos over here on these two rigs, and again, that's just, I'm just showing you what I'm basically doing. Has nothing to do with what I was talking about before though. All right, so let's go back to the asset. So we are going to create a unique asset for this GPU, and what we can do, I didn't practice this or anything, so I'm just going, you guys are going to learn with me. So you have to, I've got unique asset selected. It only burns 5, or it costs 5. A sub asset costs 100 RVN, Raven. So in this case, we're going to use unique, because the way I look at that is there's only one of these GPUs, and I don't want to have to spend, and there could be lots of them, right, underneath of this particular top level asset. So I don't want to do like a sub asset. This is better suited for a unique asset. All right, so let's go to the name. Now this is important because it's got to match a certain naming convention, and I think for something like this, if I want to single this GPU out, I would probably use something like GPU, and I think you can use a underscore if my keyboard is a little closer here. I'm a long ways away from it's got a long ways to go to get over there to the computer. So the GPU underscore, I believe, and if you look over here, it'll show you basically that it's good so far. If it's green like that, if you put something in there that's not valid, I just hit space, it will, actually it doesn't go green, but it does throw this down here, or it doesn't go red over here, but it does throw this down here like, hey man, you can't do that. So let me take that space back out, and it should be good. Okay, so we want to uniquely identify this particular GPU. So in this case, let's go, and I've already documented a lot of this stuff. I've documented the serial number and things like that. Let me grab that real quick. I'm just going to where I have the file stored. I'm just going to copy the serial number. Actually, I'll copy the whole name of the GPU itself as well. See, I don't know if there's like a limit to the characters or anything. It'll tell me if it's not going to work. Paste that in there. Yeah, so there is a limit, and it looks like it's pretty short. Maybe 20. So it looks like it might have a limit of 20 characters. Alright, so we have to get a little bit creative here because it's not the name that I would like to name it. So we got to I'm just going to use the serial number then, instead of, because I had like the whole make, model, serial number and all that stuff in the name. So we'll just use GPU and then the serial number. And maybe we can put something in here like, if we have room, this is a gigabyte. So let's go, actually we'll leave it like that. We'll leave it like that. And what we want to do is we are going to there's only one. All this stuff is grayed out except for add JSON metadata hash. JavaScript object notation is what that stands for. So what you can do, this is the cool part. So what you can actually do is upload a file to IPFS, right? And once you do that, and the file can describe the asset. So in this case, we're going to, I've already done it, but I've got a file that describes this asset really well. So let's go and look at that real quick. Bring that up. And then I just made a PDF, pretty quick, little down and dirty thing here. And so it looks like this. So I'm basically describing the asset, you know, make, model, serial number, and which rig it's installed in. You can change this stuff at a later date. You don't have to worry about it being, you know, permanent or anything like that. And of course, you can make this however you want. But it has to be, I think you're only going to be able to use one file. So it would be kind of neat if they had more than one IPFS entry in there, but right now it's just one. I don't know if it's going to remain like that forever, but in this case, it is just one. So what I did here, I was thinking about what I would, if I was the owner, like I'm going to send this asset to the actual owner of the GPU, okay, on the Raven network. So now he will have the asset in his wallet, right, to manage. And there's a lot of really cool features that we can use after the fact, after that part of it is done. So then that's going to be able to prove ownership, right? Now, obviously, you know, court of law kind of thing, maybe not, because possession is 9/10 and all that stuff, right? But on the Ravencoin network, it will be proof that he owns the asset, right? If I send him this asset through the network, then he has this information, he has this file, or the file that's related to this device in his possession. So as far as Ravencoin and the company SavageMine and all that stuff is concerned, he owns it, right? So that is the cool part. So what we'll do, but we need to get this file up to IPFS, and IPFS is Interplanetary File System. And just give you a real quick little blurb on that. It is a protocol designed to create a content addressable peer-to-peer method of sharing hypermedia in a distributed file system. That's real quick, down and dirty. Basically look at it as a network, a distributed, completely decentralized cloud file storage, right? That's basically the way to look at it. And in this case, Ravencoin uses, let's see if I can get to, yeah, right here. So they use Cloudflare IPFS for the download portion of it, and global upload for the upload to IPFS. So we're going to go to global upload. I've already created a account here, so you can see right here. And I've already uploaded a couple files just from previous stuff. But what we're going to do is we are going to upload that file, this file right here, so that we can reference it in the asset inside of the asset's properties, right? So this is where it gets kind of cool. So we're going to click on, I think I can just click and drag it. Maybe not. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll have to go to the actual file and grab it. So let me do that. I'm going to close this. I'm going to go and grab the PDF. Just drag it right here. And it's going to ask, do you want to transport? So we're going to choose transport. And then now we have an IPFS hash, right? Now I think you have to use, I don't think you can just copy this, because I think you have to use just the hash itself. Like the beginning part of this is the website that you're going to go to reference the hash, right? I mean, we can probably play around with that and see. And I think they misspelled shortened. But anyway, let's go to dashboard, and I've got a couple files over here. This is the PDF file that we just uploaded. So I'm going to grab actually look at it on IPFS. So this is from, if you look up here, this is from IPFS. But all we want is this information right here, I think. Now this is something that I probably need to investigate this a little bit further, but I think that we can only use this as the IPFS. Let's try it. I don't know what it'll do. Just use the whole link here and try to put that into the hash for the metadata. So right here it says specifically, you know, the IPFS hash that is associated with the asset, right? Yeah, see, it actually gives you an example here that starts off as just the hash. So we'll go paste, and yeah, see, it's not going to let us. So that was a good little test right there, because I hadn't done that before. So we have to only start it with the Q, right? So we'll backspace over all this stuff here, and then, uh-oh. All right, so we must have done something wrong, because it says it needs 46 characters. Oh, I must have missed something here. Copy that. All right, there we go. So yeah, for whatever reason it cut it off. So now we have, just to look at it again, now we have an asset that has a name of GPU, which kind of points you in the right direction as to what the asset actually is, right? And then the serial number. I would like that name to be a little bit more descriptive than that for a real scenario. This is kind of a play, you know, almost like a proof of concept kind of thing, but I I believe that this will probably work like this. And once we get that in there, already did that. It all looks good. Then, and it is a unique, so I'm just double checking things. So it's a unique asset with this. Cost 5 Raven, great, it's valid. Got the hash already in there. I think we're good. So now we just click create asset. I have to put in my password. Hopefully I remember it. And then it asks, are you sure you want to send it? Because I'm sending it to the address of the master asset, right? Or what do they call it? Administrative asset. It's got a little fee associated with it. All right, great. So we're going to choose yes. So now asset transaction sent to network. Okay. Now we should be able to go over here and probably watch as it gets confirmed and all that stuff. All right, so let me check the chat, see what's going on, if anything at all. I can tell that there's only 3 people watching, so that probably means that they're not interested in this kind of stuff. Or it must not be very interesting. I don't know. I like this kind of stuff. This stuff is what drives me, man. I love this. You know, the use cases and figuring out how to use all this technology. I hate seeing all the fork and forget or copy and paste projects. I hate it, and this is just definitely not one of them. So that's why I'm spending a little bit more time on it. But I really dig this stuff right here. So hopefully this thing will get confirmed, but it might not even matter because I think if we go to manage assets and click down arrow here, SavageMine, yeah, see it's not, I don't know where it would show up in here or if it would show up in here. So I don't know if maybe it shows up underneath of here. I don't know. Let's see. I think we'll have to wait on it to get confirmed and everything before we would be able to mess around with it. And there's probably a lot more to this, actually, too. The capabilities. I know you can look at it with explorers, asset explorers, and things like that, and you can actually put information into the file that you upload to IPFS that'll show up. I think the way it works is it'll show up in the Explorer. So super cool. So I'll probably look into that a little bit more and maybe do you know, quick little tutorials on stuff like that once we get to that point. But we could probably do the whole week on Raven, to be honest, because I'm just barely skimming the surface and I don't even know. I'm just winging it. I don't even really know what I'm doing, but you know, I think we're getting there. Okay, so here it does show up under overview. So there is the asset that we created, but it's still not confirmed or anything. Now what I would like to be able to do is see it under managed assets. It's probably somehow it's in here. I don't know. I mean, my true asset is SavageMine, but I should be able to do something with the unique asset too, right? Yeah, this is where I'm gonna probably have to do a little bit more research on this to figure out. Huh. Because I would like to, what I want to be able to do, well, wait a minute. So I could go to an explorer. So I don't think BrandonCoin's live, right? Didn't he do a video earlier? So he's not even he's not going live, I don't think, tonight. I think he posted a video a little bit earlier. So we got a little bit of time to mess around here if y'all want. Let's go to community. So under community, there is a asset explorer that works. This one right here. So you can see right here that this asset was created. So it looks like it's all good. Now what I don't know how to do is I don't know how to access the, oh, here it is right here, IPFS attachment. So remember the steps that we just went through. We uploaded a file to IPFS, we put that IPFS hash into the asset that we created, which was this SavageMine GPU serial number blah blah, right? So now it looks like we will probably be able to just click to view and view the asset. So how cool is that? I think that is super cool. So now if I send that asset, if I send this asset right here to the rightful owner, the person that actually owns this GPU right here, the one that bought it, and I'm hosting in a rig that is here at my place, then now they own it according to the SavageMine asset structure, right? But the cool thing is, now that might not be super cool to everybody. I think it is, but the really cool stuff comes later, because the way that I want to do, the way that I've been doing the rigs that are co-owned, these two right here, is I've kind of been making the decisions as to what we're mining, only because of the market and how things have kind of gone, down, and it's not so crazy. I mean, you're doing good to make 20 cents a day, not even a day, but a rig, if you're making $3 a rig right now, that's pretty strong, right? And it's not, and actually it's not even close to that. I think it's like $1.50 after power and stuff. So it's just not very profitable. So they, the folks that co-own this with me, they kind of gave me, the ability to just figure out the best thing to mine right now. But at some point, given these different capabilities of Raven, so we'll go back to the white papers and go back to the roadmap. So basically what we've done is, I've showed you how to mine it. That was Monday. Then yesterday we talked a little bit about assets and some other junk. I don't even know I didn't even really go over too much of what I was supposed to yesterday. I don't know what we were doing, but we were talking about something else, I guess. I was probably just rambling. So tonight we also talked about assets a little bit. And so back to the GPU, and if I created a unique asset for each GPU that's hosted, and then I sent those assets to the appropriate people that own them, then what we can do in the future, I don't think all this is basically complete yet, but let's say that we want to figure out what we're going to mine, right? So let's say we've got a rig where 5 people own the total rig, right? So each own 20%. Then what you could do is send a voting token right here. It's talking about this right here, or I'm talking about this. You will be able to send a token and say, hey, well, actually you'll use messaging first, because you'll have to let them know that there's a vote coming, or that they need to vote on something. So you could vote on what that rig is going to mine for whatever time you set up. Let's say it's 30 days or whatever your time frame, 1 week, 1 day, however you want to do it. So you could send those messages, and then the voting system, use the voting as well to have those 5 owners reply with their whatever they want to mine for that week. So it becomes, or whatever the time frame is. So it becomes democratic, right? It's all voting. Now, obviously, I don't know how it would work if you had an even number, and you'd have to address that all with how you're going to set this up. But that's another thing that's kind of cool, because whenever we first did these rigs and we were figuring out, or first built the rigs and we were figuring out what we were going to mine, well, I was always using Telegram to ask, like, hey, we should probably be mining this or that, what do y'all think about this? And not all the time, you're not always going to get a response, and a lot of people didn't really care as long as it's somewhat profitable, right? But this will give that power to them, right? They'll be able to vote if they want, and that's a combination of, the way I understand it, it will be a combination of messaging and voting. Both of those phases or those capabilities aren't available yet, from what I understand. So yeah, it doesn't say completed on here, but that is kind of cool, right? I mean, I think that that's a neat little scenario. Then also along those same lines, you've got rewards. So whatever the profits are for that month or that week or whatever it is that you decide on your time frame, then you would be able to, figure out, okay, you got 20% per person that owns the rig, for example. Then you would send 20% of the profits to those token holders that hold the token for, or the asset for their GPU. If they own 2 of these, then they would get 40%, or however you're going to set it up. But that is just a further use that's not available yet, that you could use in this use case scenario that I have in my brain. I don't know. This is just something I thought of. I thought it was kind of neat to be able to do that particular function. Now, I don't know how much work it's going to be. I mean, clearly, you have to be able to manipulate the wallet and do all this. They'll have to have the owners that you're working with. You would probably have to have them with at least the Raven mobile wallet, probably, to be able to manage all this and receive the rewards and do the voting once that's enabled on Android. I think you could probably, if voting was available, you could already do it on iOS, because they have the asset capable wallet available on iOS, but not on Android yet. So that is pretty much in a nutshell what I wanted to cover. What do y'all think about that? I think it's a cool use case. And we actually did it live. I mean, creating the asset and the unique asset and stuff. I kind of look at a unique asset as non-fungible, right? I think that's the right terminology. It's unique to a specific device or asset. And we can kind of look over like some of the examples. They give some pretty good examples here. They're really good, they being the developers and the people who write the white paper. That would be Tron Black, Bruce Fenton, and I'm so sorry, I always forget the other guy's name. Joel Wright. There we go. Joel Wait. All right, so now I'll remember his name. I need to follow him on Twitter and stuff, so I don't, if he's over there, so I don't forget his name. But they do a really good job of giving examples, is my point, in their white paper. So like here, this is, as I was reading the white paper, I kind of got this, that's where I kind of came up with this idea, like, oh man, I could actually apply this to a real world thing that I'm doing like right now, But it says RVN based unique assets can be tied to real world assets, in this case a GPU. Create an asset named, for example, Gold Vault. In our case, we created SavageMine. That was earlier on. I didn't show you guys that, but that's that main asset, that 500 Raven asset. And each gold coin or gold bar, GPU in our case, can be serialized and audited, right? So we've got serial number for the GPU itself, only one in the whole world, right? And then associated unique assets. In our case, it was SavageMine, and then the GPU underscore whatever the serial number is. And those can be created to represent the specific assets, like I was saying, in the physical world, basically, right? And that's what this is. And then, it says the public nature of the chain allows for full transparency, which means that's what they're talking about. You could go to the Explorer and actually look this asset up. right? And click to view the whatever the IPFS is if it has that. You don't have to have an IPFS, but in the case of something unique like this, you probably would want to have at least like a picture or you know, a document that shows the serial number and what the device looks like. I mean, whenever I was thinking about this, I was like, you know, I probably want to show it powered on in the rig, you know, just as proof that it is actually on, you know, a physical asset. These aren't stock photos, clearly. I mean, it's you know, taken by me, but what you could also add in there is actually a picture of you holding the device, you know, and then that way you could get the, I think actually Bitsby Trippin did this with his use case scenario for this. He would go back and forth with it was the Boring Company, not a flamethrower. That's what he used as the asset example, and he went back and forth a couple of times to prove ownership with the person, and they were having to take pictures with the serial number and different things, and then like the actual printout of the document that you printed from his website, I think is the way it worked. Super cool the way they did it. But you know, you can always go back and forth like that and prove that ownership, you know, to get it into the IPFS so that you can really identify that particular asset. Like, let's say that this was a car, right, with a VIN number and stuff like that. You could have pictures of the car. You could have pictures of the car at a certain location, you know, so that you could literally verify that the asset or the object, whatever it is, actually exists, you know. So that was my goal here with these two kind of like in action pictures, right? Instead of having just a picture of a GPU, you know, like this, you know, it just makes more sense to have it actually working in the rig. I didn't take a far away picture simply because it's in my garage, and my garage is a wreck, so I didn't want to show you guys that. Maybe someday, maybe I'll update this in the future, but all right, that is probably going to wrap it up. There's only one person watching, probably Deadwood. What's up, man? Yeah, so this is super cool. This has been fun. I like this kind of stuff. Like I said, I love it. This is a cool use case in my opinion. So I am going to end the stream here. Thanks so much for watching. And if you're watching this after the fact, make sure that you know, leave a comment. What you thought about this? You know, my machine locked up in that first little episode. I might even just delete that whole video. That way no one's confused over which one to watch. This one is going on 38 minutes. Not too bad to cover a lot of information. I mean, the whole asset thing is pretty in depth. There's a lot to it. So yeah, leave me a comment. You know, make sure you hit the like and all that stuff, and share this channel info with your friends to make sure that they are aware of it as well. I've got a guy, Red Panda Mining. He's like killing it. Whenever he first kind of came on the scene, so to speak, he had quite a few less subscribers than me, but he has just rocketed past me, man. That guy is on a mission. So check out his channel too. That's Red Panda Mining. I could probably leave I think I have his link here. So check out his channel. He does basically a video every day, not live, but he does really high quality stuff. And yeah, should definitely check out his channel as well. But also tell your friends about my channel. You know, make sure you spread the word about that, because it does help out quite a bit. And no, I don't have his link super handy, but I can go to his, it's over here. This is what his channel looks like. So be sure to check that out, and I am going to sign off. I know at the end of streams I always just start running my mouth, but I appreciate you guys checking it out. I will see you guys tomorrow night, and I think maybe, unless I get different comments, because I'll probably do a tweet tomorrow and ask people what they kind of want to do. Do they want to get back to a different coin, or do you want to go even further into Raven? Although at this point we already pretty much covered everything that's in there, that's available right now. I mean, obviously there's, you know, nuances and things inside of all the things that we just did, and maybe even different use cases that we could go through. but I don't know if you guys would be interested in that at all. So I'll probably maybe do a tweet about it tomorrow and kind of get a feel for what you guys want to look at tomorrow. Maybe I'll just make the command decision and just say, okay, we're going to get back on track and do a random coin and then go from there. But this has been super fun. I really like Raven, so yeah, I know I keep saying that, but I do. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Wow, we went up to 3. We went from 1 to 3. So there's people popping in here. But I am going to end the stream. We've been going for about 40 minutes, 41 minutes. So I guess maybe rewind it. I don't know. You know, wait until it's posted or whatever and then check it out. I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time, 9:30. Tomorrow's Thursday. Yep, so I'll be here. And again, we'll probably start with a new coin, you know, do it random and all that stuff again. So see you guys tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like and all that stuff on your way out. Stay savage, everybody. I will see y'all tomorrow night, 9:30. Later.